Hello, everyone, and welcome to our retail management class. Our discussion for today will be about private labels and franchising. But before anything else, let me introduce myself first. I am Cristine Sienes, your first speaker for this discussion, followed by Miss Shan Sysing, Miss Jeiza Tayko, and Mr. Templado. We are level 3 marketing management students of Silliman University. Now that we have been introduced, let us now begin our discussion, starting with our learning objectives. Our learning objectives for this lesson are: describe the importance of private labels, identify the popular private labels in the Philippines, discuss the concept of retail franchising, and state the advantages and disadvantages of retail franchising. Now, before we get to our discussion proper, let us first familiarize the keywords that we will encounter for today's lesson, starting with co-management franchise. The franchisor and franchisee jointly manage the franchise business with more involvement in the day-to-day affairs of the former. The next keyword is franchisee. It is an individual who purchases the rights to use a company's trademarked name and business model to do business. Next is franchisor, a party in a franchising enterprise that ultimately owns the rights, trademarks, and property knowledge of the specific business entity. Next is franchising. It is a special form of licensing in which a parent company, the franchisor, grants another independent company, the franchisee, the right to do business in a prescribed manner. The next keyword is lease, a contract by which one party conveys land, property, service, etc. to another for a specified time, usually in return for a periodic payment. And the last two words that we have to familiarize are private labels. These are brands owned and sold by retailers in their stores, typically at a lower price because of minimal marketing and advertising expenses. Next is territorial franchise. This kind of franchise is for a very specific geographical area with territorial override for the franchisee. To introduce the lesson for today, let me give you an overview of what is private label and retail franchising. Now, private label and retail franchising are two crucial facets of the Philippine retail market. Products under retailers' own brand name are referred to as private label. This will be further discussed in the preceding slides. Another crucial element of the Philippines retail sector is retail franchising. Entrepreneurs can own and run their own retail business using the methods, merchandise, and branding of an established franchisor through retail franchising. An example of this would be Jollibee. Yes, McDonald's. I think Chowking also offers franchise, 7-Elevens, and many others. But these are the most well-known brands that offer franchising. Private labels and retail franchising are significant trends in Philippine retail sector, providing chances for retailers and business owners to stand out from rivals and expand their brands. Alright, now that the lesson has been introduced and the keywords that we will encounter in the lesson were already defined, and we somehow had an overview on what private labels and franchising is, let us now discuss the first facet of the Philippine retail sector, which is the private labels. Now, what is private label brands? Private label brand, often referred to as an in-house brand or store brand, is that which is owned by the retailers themselves. In other words, the product is branded by the company that sells it rather than the company that manufactures it. What works for private labels, according to retailers, is that consumers trust a retailer brand to sell quality products. Let's say, for example, Robinsons or SM. So these brand names are already have already an established names, and just from hearing the word their brand names, or from the word SM or Robinsons, you would already think na these stores sells quality products. So the customers already had that in mind, right? So that is one of the advantages that these private or these big retailers have over these products, or over private label products. There are two reasons why private label started with offering cheaper substitutes, and these are: having a private label meant that retailers could negotiate a better margin from the manufacturers. Yes, of course, especially those big retail businesses, they could negotiate, or they have the power over the manufacturers. So that is one of the advantages of having, especially those big retailers already. Next is, when they had private labels, it was a differentiating factor, which is also true. Now let us dig deeper into this, and let's proceed to the next slide. Let's say, for example, in this slide, it's stating that every shop sells Coca-Cola and Pepsi, which are both well-known national brands. Of course, who doesn't know about Coca-Cola and Pepsi? We all do. It's part of, especially in Filipinos, we see it as part of every family celebration, or not just families, but all kinds of celebrations. So we know of Coca-Cola and Pepsi. However, if a store were to introduce a private label version of a similar beverage, it would mean that they have a unique product that is only available in their store. This can be a competitive advantage for the store, as it gives customers a reason to shop there specifically for that unique product. So, in essence, a private label product can help a store stand out from its competitors and potentially attract more customers. Now, they no longer say, buy us because we are cheap. Instead, today they say, buy us because we are the best. Now, private label products can provide several benefits for both manufacturer and retailer. For the manufacturer, it can provide steady source of income through a long-term partnership with a retailer. For the retailer, it can provide way to offer exclusive products to their customers, differentiate themselves from competitors, and potentially earn higher profit margins. Now, for manufacturers, they needed these intermediaries. And actually, there are two types of intermediaries. These are wholesalers and retailers. And retailers is one of the intermediaries that these manufacturers need in order for their product to reach its final consumers. So that is how these intermediaries, especially the power of these retailers over the manufacturers, and of course, the one of their, let's say, important role in the business world is to provide convenience to the customers. And as much as possible, these retailers wanted to offer, if not all, but most of the products that their customers need. Now let's proceed to the next slide. Now let's move on to the factors to be considered while going for private labels. The first one is retailers must look at developing good quality and value-added products. Retailers should focus on creating products that are not only of good quality but also offer additional value to customers. This can include features that distinguish the product from similar ones on the market, such as added convenience or functionality, or a unique selling proposition that sets the product apart from competitors. Next is retailers must make sure they don't over-exercise the private label option. Retailers should be cautious about relying too heavily on their private labels. While private label products can be a strategic way to differentiate a store and increase revenue, relying too heavily on them can have several potential drawbacks, such as limited customer choice. Customers may feel that they have fewer options to choose from if a store only offers private label products, which could lead them to shop elsewhere. Additionally, if a store introduces too many private label products, it may be difficult to maintain the same level of quality control across all products. This could lead to quality issues and harm the store's reputation. The second one would be limit a store's ability to build a strong brand image. By focusing exclusively on private label products, a store may miss out on the opportunity to create a strong brand identity that customers can connect with. And lastly, last drawbacks, dependent on specific suppliers or manufacturers. These could lead to supply chain issues if those suppliers or manufacturers experience problems, which could in turn impact the availability of the store's products. That is why retailers should be cautious about relying too heavily on their private label products. Next factor would be retailers need to be careful when coming with more number of private labels in their stores. And of course, as what I have mentioned, one of the drawbacks in this factor would be limited customer choice and so on and so forth. The next factor, retailers need to focus on national brands in order to retain customers for the long run. Now, by carrying national brands, retailers can attract and retain customers who prefer to shop for well-known brands, which can lead to increased loyalty and repeat business. National brands also help to establish the store's credibility and reputation by associating it with well-known and respected products. Now, carrying national brands can help retailers stay competitive in the market. National brands often have larger marketing budgets and greater brand recognition, which can help drive foot traffic to a store and increase in sales. Now, retailers should prioritize carrying national brands in addition to their private label products to retain customers for the long run and remain competitive in the marketplace. Now, in recent years, many Philippine retailers have started to introduce their own private label brands as a way to differentiate themselves from competitors and offer consumers more affordable options. Some examples of private labels brands in the Philippines are the following. Alright, first we have Robinsons Supermarket. Robinsons offers a wide range of private label products including groceries, health, beauty items, and household essentials. Now, their private label brands include Select, Robinsons Easy Mart, and Healthy You. Another example of private label brands in the Philippines is SM Markets. SM Markets, which operates under SM Retail Incorporated, also offers private label products such as SM Bonus for food items, SM Home for home essentials, and SM Health for health and wellness products. Next, we have Pure Gold. A popular retail chain in the Philippines offers several private label products under the brand names Pure Gold Price Club, Pure Gold Junior, and Tindahan ni Aling Puring. And our last example would be Landers Superstore. Landers Superstore is a membership shopping store. It offers a range of private label products under their exclusive brand Landers. Now that we have already defined what is private labels and what are the factors that we have to consider when we are going for private labels, and we have already seen examples of private labels in the Philippines. Let us now proceed to the second facet of the Philippine retail market, which is franchising. But again, before that, let me give the floor to Ms. Shan Sysing. She will discuss the private retail stores in India. Shan May?
We will now proceed with the private labels in Indian retail. First is the Bharti Retail, Walmart's joint venture partner in India. They have bought 8 private labels in total, including Great Value line of food and George Apparel. The private label lines are going into the cash and carry format, best price modern wholesale, and discount convenience Easy Day. Equate, a brand for pharmacy and health and beauty items. It has been introduced only in the hand wash category as of now in Easy Day stores. Next up is Aditya Birla Group. More retail outlets from the Aditya Birla Group offers Feasters brands, which includes fruit squash, biscuits, fruit syrup, instant fruit mix powders, and noodles. More brands, various grocers, under 10%, toilet cleaners, detergents and soaps, and Paradise Room and air fresheners. AU79, a deodorant, and Fresh O Dent toothpaste and toothbrushes. Up next is Shopper Stop. Shopper Stop offers Kashish, Haute Curry, Vittoria Fratini, and Eliza Donatine private labels in its products offerings. Life's t-shirts for men while Stop as ladies' western wear. For Vishal Megamart, it offers salt and toothbrush under its Vinid brand. And lastly, Pantaloon Retail India Limited. It offers comparatively more than the other retailers. This is because Pantaloon Retail India Limited is expanding its business and growing faster compared to other organized retailers in India. So for the private labels in India is about 3 to 4% as of the moment from the book. The rest is unorganized retail, i.e. the Kirana stores. Organized retailing is growing rather fast than ever. Hence, in the coming years, retail consumers can see some more private labels in the retail stores and have more options in their selections. So, how is the performance of Indian private labels? From Thomas Verghese, CEO of Aditya Birla Retail, says, our brands have performed very well against the fast moving consumer goods, or known as the FMCG brands, across a range of food and non food categories. From Mohit Kampani, the Vice President, Merchandising Food and FMCG, Spencer's Retail, said, our private labels have double-digit market share in food, 10 to 20%, and beverages, 8 to 10%, home care, 10%, and personal care with 10%. As you can see, private labels have become more relevant in the supermarket. And one of the examples for our local supermarkets is Lee Plaza and Robinson's downtown, or in Robinson's by Robinson's Dumaguete at the more proper one. As you can see in there, a prevalent example is around the plaza is when if you're a non-brand, if you're not very that conscious about brands, you would see that in the baking section, Lee Plaza would have their flours of their own brand in various ways, and like cake flour or their all-purpose flour. And as well in Robinson's Dumaguete or in Robinson's downtown, you would see that they would be selling their own sugars like brown sugar and white sugar in the sugar section where you would buy from other brands as well.
Good day everyone, I am Jeiza Tayko and today I will be discussing franchising as well as its advantages and disadvantages. First, what is franchising? So franchising is a business model in which an established company known as a franchisor grants the right to operate a business under its brand and proven business system to another individual or entity known as the franchisee. The franchisee pays certain fees and royalties to the franchisor in exchange for the use of the brand name, trademarks, business model, ongoing support, and access to established products or services. Also, franchising is a strategy used by successful companies to expand and distribute their business. It allows companies to replicate their proven business model and brand identity in new markets, benefiting from the knowledge or the local knowledge and resources of franchisees. Franchising is particularly attractive for international expansion as it helps overcome language, legal, and cultural barriers. It also enables companies to expand their distribution channels by granting franchises to individuals with established networks. Franchisees pay fees and royalties to the franchisor, and by doing so, the franchisor is generating revenue without the cost of owning outlets. However, careful management and ongoing support are crucial to maintain brand consistency and ensure franchisee success. Franchising offers a scalable and efficient approach to growth for both companies and franchisees. Let's now move on to the different types of franchise system. There is territorial franchise, mobile franchise, co-management, co-owned, and lastly lease. In a territorial franchise system, the franchisor grants the franchisee the right to operate within a specific geographical area. This area is typically defined and protected by a territorial agreement, which gives the franchisee exclusive rights to operate and sell the franchise products or services within that territory. The franchisor usually does not establish any additional outlets or grant franchises to other individuals within the same territory, ensuring that the franchisee has a designated market to serve. The next is the mobile franchise. A mobile franchise allows the franchisee to operate in multiple locations or move their business to different areas as needed. Unlike a fixed location franchise, where the business operates from a specific physical store or premise, a mobile franchise provides flexibility by allowing the franchisee to bring products and services directly to customers in various locations. The type of franchise is often seen in industries such as food trucks, mobile pet grooming, or home service, where the franchisee can reach customers at different events, neighborhoods, and specific location. The next is co-management. In a co-management franchise system, both the franchisor and the franchisee share the responsibility of managing the franchise business. While the franchisee typically handles the day-to-day operations, the franchisor has a more involved role in providing guidance, support, and oversight. This can include sharing management strategies, providing training and operational standards, and participating in decision-making processes. Co-management allows for a closer collaboration between a franchisor and a franchisee, with the franchisor maintaining a high level of involvement compared to other franchise models. Moving on to co-owned. In a co-owned franchise, the franchisor and the franchisee have a joint ownership of the business. This is different from the traditional franchise model, where the franchisee operates as an independent business owner under the franchisor's brand and system. In a co-owned franchise, both parties contribute to the investment and take on shared responsibilities and risk. The franchisor's increased stake in the business allows for closer control and alignment with the franchisee, and it may indicate a higher level of commitment or strategic interest from the franchisor's perspective. And lastly, we have lease. A lease franchise involves a franchisee renting out the premises to the franchisor rather than actively operating the business themselves. In this agreement, the franchisee acts as the landlord and provides the franchisor with the physical space or property required to establish and operate the franchise. The franchisee's involvement is limited to leasing out the premises and collecting rent, where the franchisor assumes the responsibility for managing the business and providing the products and services to customers. The type of franchise is less common and typically occurs when the franchisee may not have the expertise or interest in running the business but still wishes to benefit from leasing the property to the franchisor. Let us now proceed to the advantages of retail franchising. So the first advantage is a proven business idea. Retail franchising allows you to base your business on a proven idea. By observing the success of other franchises within the same system, you can assess the viability and profitability of the concept before making a commitment. This reduces the risk associated with starting a new business from scratch. Second is establish brand and trademarks. When you join a retail franchise, you gain the right to use a recognized brand name and trademarks. This provides you with instant brand recognition and customer trust. Additionally, you benefit from the marketing, advertising, or promotional activities carried out by the franchisor, which can help drive customers to your business. The third is support from franchisor. Franchisors typically offer comprehensive support to franchisees. This support includes initial training to help you understand the business model, assistance in setting up your business, a manual detailing operational procedures, and ongoing advice and guidance. The franchisor's support helps you navigate the challenges of running a retail business successfully. The fourth advantage of retail franchising is exclusive territory rights. When you enter a retail franchise agreement, you often receive exclusive rights to operate in a specific territory. This means that the franchisor will not sell any other franchises within the same region, protecting your market share and potential customer base. The fifth is easier financing opportunities. Banks and financial institutions are generally more willing to provide funding for a franchise with a good reputation and a proven track record. The established reputation and success of the franchisor's brand make it easier to secure financing for your retail franchise venture. The sixth is shared and reduced risk. Franchising allows for shared risk between the franchisee and the franchisor. The franchisor has already developed a successful business model and has a vested interest in the success of all franchises or franchisees. By leveraging their expertise, experience, and support, the risk of failure is reduced compared to starting an independent business. The seventh advantage is existing customer base. If you have an existing customer base from previous business or professional network, you can leverage that advantage when you start a retail franchise. You won't have to invest significant time and resources into building a customer base from scratch, giving you the head start in generating sales. And the last advantage would be establish supplier relationships. So retail franchises often have established relationship with suppliers and vendors. This means that the franchisor has already negotiated contracts, determined product quality standards, and secured favorable pricing. As a franchisee, you can benefit from this pre-existing supplier relationship, saving time and effort in finding and vetting reliable suppliers. The next topic would be the disadvantages of retail franchising. The first disadvantage of retail franchising is higher costs than expected. Retail franchising involves costs beyond the initial franchise fee. Franchisees are required to pay ongoing royalties and may be obligated to purchase products or supplies exclusively from the franchisor. These additional costs can impact profitability, and increase the financial commitment required to operate the franchise. Second is restriction on business operations. So, franchise agreements typically include strict guidelines and restrictions on how the business should be operated. Franchisees have a limited flexibility to make changes or adapt their business to suit local market conditions or customer preferences. The lack of autonomy can hinder innovation and restrict the franchisee's ability to respond to specific market needs. The third is instability of the franchisor. There is a risk that the franchisor may face financial difficulties, go out of business, or change their operational strategies. This can have a significant impact on the franchisee's business as it may lead to a loss of support, changes in product service offerings, or disruptions to the established brand and reputation. The fourth disadvantage would be reputation management. The actions and performance of other franchisees within the same brand network can affect the reputation of the entire franchise system. Negative experiences or poor performance by other franchisees can undermine customer trust and negatively impact the franchisee's business. The fifth is limited resale opportunities. Selling a retail franchise can be challenging as the franchisor usually has the right to approve potential buyers. This limits the franchisee's ability to sell their business to a suitable buyer of their choice, potentially prolonging the process of exiting the franchise system. And lastly, the reduced profit potential. So, while retail franchising offers a reduced risk compared to starting an independent business, it also limits the potential or significant profits. Franchisees often need to share their portion of the revenue through ongoing royalties and other fees. The franchisors focus on maintaining brand consistency and support across the franchise network may limit the franchisee's ability to implement unique strategies and unique strategies that could drive higher profits. So, understanding the advantages and disadvantages of franchising is crucial for potential franchisees to make informed decisions. The knowledge of the advantages and disadvantages also aids in assessing long-term commitment and selecting the right franchise opportunity. Ultimately, understanding these factors empowers individuals to make well-informed decisions, minimize risk, and increase their chances of success in the franchising industry.
Franchising trends in India. Following are the franchising trends in India. The first, education sector dominates the Indian franchising scenario, although retail is fast catching up. So the education sector remains the dominant player in Indian franchising scenario, but the retail sector is gaining momentum, and there is a significant potential for further growth in the future. So the reason why education remains dominant is due to the high demand for quality education and training in India, particularly in the K-12 education segment and test preparation coaching. Most of the franchisors are relatively new and small. So most of the franchisors in emerging markets like India are relatively new and small. This is because franchising requires a well-established and successful business model that can be replicated by the franchisees. Number three, several large Indian corporate houses are also going the franchising way. So franchising is becoming increasingly popular for large Indian corporate houses to expand their businesses and tap into new markets while minimizing risk and capital investment. And it also allows them to leverage the entrepreneurial spirit and local market knowledge of franchisees. Number four, newer and innovative concept being introduced. So the Indian franchising industries is witnessing a trend of introducing newer innovative concepts, ranging from unique foods and beverage offerings to niche fitness and wellness program and technology-based services and products. Number five, substantial interest from international franchisors as well as Indian business houses for master franchises. So the substantial interest from international franchisors and Indian business houses in master franchises can be attributed to the potential for high return on investment, the ability to expand rapidly into new markets, the proven business model and brand recognition, and the increasing competitiveness of the Indian market. Number six, franchising is now spread across the country, thereby providing opportunities to entrepreneurs everywhere. So franchising has become widely spread across India, creates opportunities for entrepreneurs everywhere. The growth and success of franchising in India has led to the emergence of support services, such as franchising consultants and franchise association. So making franchising more accessible and easier to understand for entrepreneurs regardless of their location. Retail franchising within India. So the India grew initially in the apparel and footwear sector. Why? Because they were easy to replicate and required minimal investment in equipment and infrastructures. So as the franchising gained popularity and success, India has gradually grown to cover a wide variety of sectors, including food, consumers durables, jewelry, books, home decor, etc., etc. Number two, there are two varieties of retailers. The manufacturer retailer, typically product distribution franchises, have been around for a while. Then the aggregators, typically business format franchises, only now beginning to show up. Okay, so existence and likely to be successful only in smaller formats. So retail franchising in India is more likely to be successful in smaller formats due to lower capital investments, localized preferences, and the preference for convenience and accessibility among Indian consumers. Then substantial action also happening in non-metro location, thereby spreading organized retailing over a larger footprint. So retail franchising in non-metro location in India is growing due to several reasons, such as rapid urbanization and economic growth, lower real estate costs and operating expenses, less competition, and government initiative promoting entrepreneurs and economic growth in these areas. Then has had to contend with the peculiarities of the India real estate markets. So, retail franchising within India has faced challenges related to the real estate marketing because of high cost in prime location, complex transactions, and diverse market conditions. So, franchisors and franchisees have had to explore alternative location and invest in research to establish their business in suitable location that can meet the needs of the local consumers. Lastly, result minimum guarantee has become the key driver. So retail franchising in India's seen minimum guarantee became a key driver to its ability to provide security and assurance to franchisees, attract high quality franchisees, reduce financial risks, and establish an equitable relationship between franchisors and franchisees. Minimum guarantee ensures shared interest in the success of the franchise, allowing both parties to work together for long-term growth and success. So here's the summaries for our report. Thank you for taking your time listening to our presentation.